Good morning, children. In this session, we are going to continue the second lesson of civics, what we saw in the previous videos. So, in the last session, we ended up with the introduction about election, political parties, and pressure groups, and how the electoral system and how the election processes that held in India and how it is going to happen or how it held. And also we saw about the election process in India, and there is one more extra option that is been added in the electronic voting machine, that is known as note option. This and all we saw in the last session, in the last video. So in this session we are going to discuss about the types of elections in India, political parties, and meaning of political party. In this session we are going to completely discuss about the types of elections in India and political parties and the meaning of political party. And the next is types of party system that is practiced in India and other parts of the world. These are the things we are going to discuss in this video, and remaining things that we will see in the next videos and the next session. Types of elections in India. So types of elections in India means there are two types of elections which will take place in India. There is direct and indirect elections. Direct elections, people directly vote for the candidates in the fray and elect their representatives. So in the direct elections, common people will vote directly and choose or they will elect their representatives for the parliament, that is known as direct elections. Following are examples of direct elections in which people over the age of 18 years participate in the election processes by casting their votes. So these are the below elections on which common people or a citizen of a nation will vote in the election processes, that is known as direct elections. Examples for direct elections are Lok Sabha elections, then state legislative assembly elections, then local bodies election, municipal corporation elections, and other local elections. These are all the 3 or 4 different types of elections known as direct elections, in which citizen or a common people who is having 18 years of age, he or she will cast their votes, cast their votes in the election process. So in the Lok Sabha elections, in which members of parliament are elected. So for the parliament, we have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. For the Lok Sabha, lower house of the parliament. For the lower house of the Lok Sabha, common people or citizens of the India will vote and choose his or her representatives for the lower house of Lok Sabha in a Lok Sabha election, that is known as direct elections. So in a state legislative assembly or in a state assembly, assemblies the citizens of not a citizen of India, any individual who is residing in a state, he or she will elect or choose his or her representatives for the state legislative assemblies. So any election process that took place in a state or union territory, that is also known as a direct election, that will also be chosen or conducted by the Election Commission of India, and that also coming under the direct election processes. And in the direct election processes, individuals of a state or a common people of a state will choose or elect a representatives for a particular or a specific state, that is known as state legislative assemblies. For the state legislative assemblies, they will choose a MLAs are members of legislative assemblies. Any individual who is being represented on behalf of common people in a state legislative assembly is known as a MLA or members of legislative assembly. This is also coming in the direct election processes. So Lok Sabha election, state legislative assembly election, local bodies, local municipal and local bodies elections are also known as direct elections. So with this concept ends, now we move to the next concept. So these are about what are the merits of direct elections and the demerits of direct elections. So first we will see, this is answer for question number 1, fifth block. So merits of direct elections. As the voters elect their representatives directly, direct elections are considered to be a more democratic method of elections. So in the direct elections for a democratic nation, voters can have a freedom or liberty to choose their or elect their or pick their representatives on behalf of them for the democratic nation through the direct election process or direct democratic method of election. That is known as, that is the merit of direct election. The next merit of direct elections is it educates people regarding the government activities and helps in choosing the appropriate candidates. Also, it encourages people to play an active role in politics. Second important merit of direct election is nothing but the direct election which educates or which gives the knowledge about the government which is going to run or govern the entire common people. So the next merit of direct election is common people or a citizen of a country can choose or they can pick who is going to govern us or who is going to administer us for the 5 years. So that advantage has been given to the citizens of a nation through direct election process, and also it encourages and it motivates the people about what is happening in the politics, and it creates a mode to involve in the political situation and political scenarios. The third merit of direct election is it empowers people and makes the rulers accountable for their actions. So the direct election process which empowers means they are accountable and they are responsible to the citizens of a nation, and those the common people, those who are picking up them or those who are choosing the leaders of any specific party. So the representatives chosen by the common people for the parliament, the elected representatives or chosen representative will be answerable, accountable and responsible for the common peoples. That is the third merit of direct elections. With this, the concept of elections, direct elections merits has been ends. Now we will move to the demerits of direct elections. So in this we are going to see about the demerits of direct elections. This is the answer for question number 1, fifth block. Direct elections are very expensive. So what is the disadvantage or demerit of a direct election is it is a very expensive and it is very costly for conducting the direct elections when it comes to the largest democratic nations like India. Illiterate voters sometimes get misguided by false propaganda. Propaganda means election demands or election proposals which will be given by the leaders of a particular party. We will do these things, we will give these things, we will give grinder, we will give mixie, we will give TV, that are known as election propagandas. And by creating a false propagandas, they will win the elections, and after winning the elections, they will not do any favorable things to the common people. These are the demerits of direct elections. The next demerit of direct election is Since conducting direct elections is a massive exercise, ensuring free and fair elections at every polling station is a major challenge to the Election Commission of India. So the third demerit of direct elections is the Election Commission of India cannot ensure or make sure that it is free and fair in all the polling stations. எல்லா எலெக்ஷன் பூத்லயும் உண்மையாவும் நேர்மையாவும் எலெக்ஷன் நடக்குதுன்றத எலெக்ஷன் கமிஷன் ஆஃப் இந்தியாவில் உறுதிப்படுத்த முடியாது, உறுதியா சொல்ல முடியாது அப்படின்றது ஒரு கெட்ட விஷயம் டைரக்ட் எலெக்ஷன் ப்ராசஸ்னால அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. The fourth demerit of direct election is there are chances of some political candidates influencing the voters through payments in the form of cash, goods or services. So the direct elections இன்னொரு fourth demerit என்னன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, சில எலெக்ஷன் பூத்லயோ இல்லை வேற எங்கேயா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா எலெக்ஷன் பார்ட்டியோட பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டியோட கேண்டிடேட் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா காசு கொடுத்து ஓட்டு கேட்கலாம். இது நம்ம வாழ்க்கையில் நடந்து பார்த்துக்கான என்னன்னு உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். So in some booths or some political candidates will give cash payments and other provisions to favor the political parties to get a win over the other political parties. That is a fourth demerit of a direct election. The fifth demerit of direct elections is election campaigns or election ரெண்டு political party மத்தியில் என்ன பண்ணா அரசியல் election டைம்ல நிறைய பிரச்சனைகளை உண்டு பண்ணி விட்டுருவாங்க. அது மட்டும் இல்லாம it is a more problematic to maintain the law and order. Law and order maintain பண்றது ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். And there's a more chance for the violation or law and order and more chance of violence between the two parties that will happen during the election time. There is a last and final demerit of direct elections. Our next concept is indirect elections. So in the last slides we discussed about the direct elections and the merits and demerits of direct elections. In this concept we are going to see about the next type of election that is known as indirect elections and its merits of indirect elections and demerits of indirect elections. So in the indirect elections, voters elect their representatives who in turn elect their representatives to formal offices like the president offices. So indirect elections nothing but voters or representatives. So என்னன்னா இப்ப லோக்சபால இருந்து ராஜ்யசபாவுக்கோ இல்ல நம்ம இந்தியாவோட பிரசிடென்ட் ஆபீஸுக்கு பிரசிடென்ட் சூஸ் பண்றது, பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர் சூஸ் பண்றது, இல்ல ஸ்பீக்கர் ஆஃப் லோக்சபா அண்ட் ஸ்பீக்கர் ஆஃப் ராஜ்யசபா சூஸ் பண்றாங்கல்ல, தட் இஸ் நோன் அஸ் இன்டைரக்ட் எலெக்ஷன்ஸ். அந்த எலெக்ஷன்ஸ்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்தியாவுடைய குடிமக்கள் யாரும் வந்து அந்த எலெக்ஷன் ப்ராசஸ்ல இன்வால்வ் ஆக மாட்டாங்க. இந்திய மக்களால தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்ட MLAs, MPs, representatives or leaders chosen by the common people, they will pick and they will elect and they will choose the representatives for the top post and positions of the Indian government. For example, president's office and prime minister's office. That is known as indirect elections. So what are the merits of indirect elections is indirect elections are less expensive. So when you compare with direct elections, indirect elections are less expensive and less expensive. So the indirect elections are less when it comes expensive or less expenditure when you compare with the direct elections. So second merit is it is more suited to elections in a large country. So the indirect elections are most opted and most advisable to the larger nations and larger democratic countries like so India மாதிரி ஒரு பெரிய நாட்டுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி indirect election process தான் சூட் ஆகும் மேட்ச் ஆகும் அப்படின்றது தான் second merit of indirect elections. Now we are going to discuss about the demerits of indirect actions. If the number of voters is very small, there exists the possibility of corruption bribery, arms trading, and other unfair practices. So when it comes to very small nation, or it's a voters are very less, it is more chance for more possibility of corruption, bribery, horse trading. So this is nothing but it's a small, very small voters means they will give cash or they will do any other unwanted corruption and they will steal something and they will go for a speculating of they will do this thing and that things for favor us for the success or winning of the elections. ஸோ இந்த இன்டைரக்ட் எலெக்ஷனுடைய மிகப்பெரிய ட்ராபேக் என்னன்னா சின்ன நம்பர் ஆஃப் ஓட்டர்ஸ் வந்து நம்பர் ஆஃப் பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ் நம்பர் ஆஃப் காம்படிட்டர்ஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப கம்மியாக இருந்தாங்கன்னா அப்போ என்ன பண்ணுவோம்னா எங்களுக்கு வந்து நிறைய பணம் கொடுங்க இல்லை நிறைய ஏதாவது செஞ்சு கொடுங்க யூ டூ சம்திங் எனி மால் ப்ராக்டிஸ் தே வில் கோ ஃபார் எனி மால் ப்ராக்டிசஸ் ஃபார் வின்னிங் இன் அ இன்டைரக்ட் எலெக்ஷன் ஸோ தட் இஸ் அ அதர் indirect or a demerit of an indirect election. And next demerit of indirect election is it is less democratic because people do not have a direct opportunity to elect, but they instead do it through their representatives. So this may not reflect the true will of the people. So the indirect election is nothing but it is having a less democratic, which means they don't have a option to or chance to choose their representatives or leaders on behalf of common people and common individuals. This is another demerit of indirect election. With this, the direct and indirect elections merits and demerits ends. Now we are moving to the next concept, that is political parties and what are the different types of parties of systems that are followed in India and other parts of the world. So political parties is the answer for question number 2 in a fourth block. Political parties is an organization formed by a group of people with a certain ideology and agenda to contest elections and hold power in the government. So political parties meaning is nothing but it's a group of people or it's an organization with a particular or specific ideology and specific agenda or specific principles to contest or compete in elections to hold or influence power in a government. So the political parties will have a specific organization formed by a group of people with a different ideas, different principles, different philosophies and a different agenda to win an election or win in a election or they will contest in or they will compete in a election process. That is known as political parties. So the political party will have three components. They are a leader and active members and they will have large followers. So this is the how the Indian president is elected. So through the ballot system, this is known as ballot system. So they will fold and put who is going to be a president of India and elected or chosen by the members of state assembly, state MLAs, MPs of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha and MLAs of union territories. They all involved in a president election processes. So president election process la Lok Sabha MP, Rajya Sabha MP, state MLA, union territories MLA எல்லாருமே ஓட்டு போடுவாங்க. இந்த மாதிரி ballot box இருக்கும். அதுல வந்து அவங்களுடைய ஓட்டு போடுவாங்க. So through this process or this like this only the president is being elected. So this is nothing but what are the different types of political parties that exist in world. So there are three different types of political parties that will exist or that is being existed in world or in India. So first one is single party system, second one is two party system, third one is multi party system. The single party system is practiced in China, Cuba and USSR. Only one political party will rule the entire nation. That is known as single party system. So two party system is nothing but there will be a two major political parties. They will involved in a election and they will compete or they will contest in elections. So that kind of two-party system that is being practiced in USA and UK. So multi-party system, the concept of election system that is practiced in India is multi-party system. In India, Sri Lanka, France, Italy, they will have many number of parties, more than one party and more than two party. That is known as multi-party system. That is known as multi-party system. They will involve or they will contest or they will compete in a election. That is known as multi-party system. So next your concept is types of political parties. Types of political parties is nothing but political parties are அரசியல் கட்சிகளை ரெண்டு விதமா பிரிப்பாங்க. ஒன்று வந்து தேசிய அளவில் நிர்ணயிக்கப்பட்ட அரசியல் பார்ட்டி, இன்னொன்று வந்து மாநில அளவில் நிர்ணயிக்கப்பட்ட பார்ட்டி. தட் இஸ் நோன் அஸ் நேஷனல் லெவல் பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டி அண்ட் ஸ்டேட் லெவல் political parties. So the political parties are recognized and classified by a Election Commission of India into two types, that is national political party and state political parties. So national parties is nothing but Election Commission will decide which is a national political party and which is a state level political party. So the national political parties will have a unique symbol and that symbol will be used only by the official candidate of that specific political party during the election processes. That is a election symbol. So the national party la யாரெல்லாம் அந்த எலெக்ஷன்ல கலந்துக்கிறாங்களோ அவங்க தான் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அந்த எலெக்ஷன் சிம்பிளை, அந்த கட்சியோடைய சிம்பிளை, அந்த நேஷனல் பார்ட்டியோட சிம்பிளை election time la avanga election process ku illa vera enga vanalum common use pannipanga. That is known as national parties. So up to 2017 we have 7 national parties in India. Now we are moving to the next concept, state party. Other than 7 national parties, most of the major parties of the country are classified with Election Commission as a state party. So apart from 7 national parties of India, all other political parties are considered as a state political parties. So the difference between the state political parties and national political parties are recognized or acknowledged or identified by the Election Commission of India based on how much vote they gained in the elections. With that only, Election Commission of India will decide which is a state party and which is a national party. So that we will see in this concept. So these are the different national parties of India, which is been decided by declared by Election Commission of India. So how the Election Commission of India will decide as a national party and state party? So for getting a recognition or to become a national party of India, a political party must fulfill the following things. What are the things that a national party declare himself as a national party means? They have to have 6% of votes in a 4 states in a Lok Sabha elections. So the members of Lok Sabha in the election processes, political party must have in a 4 states in a Lok Sabha election, they have to get at least 6% of vote. ஏதாவது ஒரு 4 மாநிலத்துல ஒரு பொலிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்டி லோக்சபா எலெக்ஷன்ல 6% ஓட்டு எடுத்துருக்கோம். அப்படி எடுத்திருந்தாதான் அந்த பார்ட்டியை நேஷனல் பார்ட்டியா டிக்ளேர் பண்ணுவாங்க. நெக்ஸ்ட் பாயிண்ட் இஸ் in the election of Lok Sabha, at least 2% of members from at least 3 states are elected to the Lok Sabha. So this is nothing but in a Lok Sabha elections, at least 2% of a specific political party they have to elected in a Lok Sabha. ஸோ பார்லிமெண்ட் லோக்சபாவோட கீழ் அவைக்கு எலெக்ஷன் டைம்ல எலெக்ஷன் ப்ராசஸ்ல ஏதாவது ஒரு 4 மாநிலங்கள்ல 2% மெம்பர்ஸ் அது 2% ரெப்ரசன்டேட்டிவ் யாராச்சும் அவங்க வந்து எலெக்ஷன்ல வின் பண்ணிருக்கணும் 2 அப்படி இருந்தா மட்டும்தான் அந்த பார்ட்டியை வந்து ஒரு நேஷனல் பார்ட்டியா டிக்ளேர் பண்ணுவாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் ஸோ ரெக்கக்னைசேஷன் அஸ் எ ஸ்டேட் பார்ட்டி அட்லீஸ்ட் இன் 4 ஸ்டேட்ஸ். ஏதாவது 4 மாநிலத்தில் ஸ்டேட் பார்ட்டியா அவங்க எலெக்ஷன்ல நின்று இருக்கணும். அந்த எலெக்ஷன் ப்ராசஸ்ல பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணியிருந்தா மட்டும்தான் அவங்கள வந்து அவங்கள நேஷனல் பார்ட்டியாவோ இல்லை ஸ்டேட் பார்ட்டியாவோ டிசைட் பண்ணுவாங்க. So with this we will end the concept and we will end the session. We will see the remaining things in the next video or in the next session.